Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us for Raptor Chat, Paying for College. I'm Camille Cawley. I'm the recruitment manager at Montgomery College, and I'm the host for this webinar. I hope you are all staying safe and well. I want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and it will be accessible later on the Facebook page, MC Future Students. I also want to share with you the Montgomery College Future Students webpage. Here you'll find information pertinent to incoming students, including future virtual events that we have planned throughout the upcoming weeks. Check back here often for updates. Take a look at today's agenda for the webinar. We're going to be talking about providing some general information about Montgomery College. We'll talk a little bit about cost of attendance. We'll have information about financial aid and scholarships, payment options, and also steps to enroll here at Montgomery College. Now I want to introduce you to our panelists today who will be providing this very important information for students and families about paying for college. So you'll have as much information as you need as you finalize your college decisions. We have Alexandra Gonzalez. She's a recruitment specialist in the Student Affairs Access Unit.
Good morning, everyone.
We have Rhonda McLaren Scott, Financial Aid Outreach Counselor in the Office of Student Financial Aid.
Good morning.
We have Laura Archer, a cashier in the finance office.
Good morning.
We have Carmen Kemp, who is also a cashier in the finance office.
Good morning.
And Nicholas Boyd, recruitment specialist in the Student Affairs Access Unit.
Good morning.
We'll be about an hour here today, and just to get some logistical matters out of the way, you won't be able to actually ask a question verbally during this webinar. Instead, please use your Q&A feature on your control bar. You'll most likely find this in the top corner of your Zoom screen. We may not be able to answer each individual question. However, we'll provide you with contact information at the end of the session so that you'll be able to follow up with on your own. Alex?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexandra Gonzalez, and today I'll be speaking to you a little bit about Montgomery College. Montgomery College is a community college that provides students with the opportunity to gain skills and also prepare for the workforce through our continuing education and workforce development programs. We also provide students the opportunity to earn certificates and associate's degrees through our credit programs. So students interested in completing a bachelor's degree can also start their academic journey at Montgomery College, complete the first 2 years of their program, and later transfer to a 4-year university. Montgomery College is one college, but we do have 3 campuses, which are located at Tacoma Park, Silver Spring, Rockville, and Germantown, Maryland. We also have satellite locations, and we offer fully online degree programs and blended programs, where students can take a combination of online classes and in-person courses to complete their degree. Now, one of the many benefits of attending Montgomery College is that although we have over 50,000 credit and non-credit students, we still are able to offer small class sizes, where on average, the student to faculty ratio is about 18:1. This allows our students to build a rapport with our award-winning faculty and also receive more personalized instruction, and in turn, have the ability to be more successful in achieving their academic goals. Montgomery College proudly offers over 100 certificate and degree options, but if you're undecided, you can always choose to complete a general education associate's degree or transfer program. Now recently, the Chronicle of Higher Education ranked MC as the most diverse community college in the continental United States. So if diversity is important to you, our students represent over 160 different nationalities. Are you looking to challenge yourself and build a strong academic resume to either enter the workforce or transfer to a four-year university? You can take rigorous courses through our honors programs. These programs offer scholarships, so not only are you able to challenge yourself, but you can do so at a reduced cost. Now imagine this. Imagine being able to travel to a new destination in the world as part of your learning experience. Our students are able to travel through short and long-term travel opportunities. Our students have traveled to over 25 destinations, including Cuba, Iceland, and India. Because MC is an affordable option to obtain an education, many of our students are able to use part of their financial aid to help fund their travel abroad and also fund their education opportunities abroad. We also offer opportunities for students to build their academic resumes and be part of the MC community through volunteerism and service learning. We offer leadership opportunities, student government, and we also have numerous student clubs and organizations. You can feel a part of the MC community through our many athletics programs as well. Our athletics programs allow students to engage in baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and track and field. And with over 450,000 alumni, the MC community will extend far past the time you'll spend with us. So let's compare MC to a four-year premier college in the state of Maryland and also to a premier college outside of the state of Maryland. As you can see, when comparing MC to other institutions, not only do we offer excellent education and amazing support services to our students, but we do so at a lower cost. Students can save on average up to $20,000 per year by attending MC, allowing education to be accessible for all and truly making us the community's college. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. This is Rhonda McLaren Scott speaking. I'm speaking on behalf of the Financial Aid Office. I'm going to talk to you about financial aid, how to apply for financial aid. What is financial aid? It's money that's made available for students for post-secondary education. It comes in two types, gift aid as well as self-help aid. Gift aid is considered grants and scholarships. Self-help aid is considered employment and loans. In order to receive financial aid, you have to start by doing the FAFSA. The FAFSA is a free application for federal student aid. It's a free application, so make sure that you're using the FAFSA.gov and not FAFSA.com. There are two screens. This is the beginning of the screen and what it looks like. Make sure that you use what's circled here in red if you're just starting. And if you do have to come back, make corrections, or renew your FAFSA award for the next year, you need to use the second one. You can also do your FAFSA on your mobile phone. You can download the My Student mobile app, My Student Aid mobile app, and you'll be able to complete your FAFSA there with no problems. The FAFSA, when you open it up, will ask you a few questions. The first questions will be general, and then it will move on to your dependency status. So dependency status is because most students under age 24 are considered dependent on their parents, and so their parents' tax information would be required in order to complete the FAFSA, tax or income information. Dependency status can change if you have a child or are married or have served in the military, but it's very important to do the process correctly and as honest as possible. If you're not supporting your child more than 50% and you're living at home with your parents, then you wouldn't do the FAFSA as though you would have the child. You would put it in separately, but always contact the financial aid office for assistance and we can assist you. Moving on along in the FAFSA, you would then put in which school college choices you choose. You can put up to 10 choices. As well, you have some housing plans to choose, and you would move on from there. Once you've signed it and completed your FAFSA, you would make sure that your parents also sign and complete your FAFSA, so that way it would go through without any need for correction. After you've done the FAFSA, you're going to receive an email that says, congratulations, you've completed your FAFSA. And then you'll also receive an email that's what's considered your SAR, your Student Aid Report. It will include your estimated family contribution. This contribution is not something that your family will have to come up with. It's what the FAFSA is determining could be how much your parents or your family could contribute towards your education. It is only used so that we can determine the need levels of the various students. When you look at the SAR, if you note that there are some corrections that need to be made, go back into the FAFSA and click that second screen to make the corrections. Make sure you sign your FAFSA after using the FSA ID, as well as your parents, so that way the process will go smoothly. Now that's just the first part. The second part is contacting every institution that you put on the FAFSA, logging in, creating your student portal, going into the financial aid section, and seeing what additional documents are required. There are most certainly always additional documents required pertaining to your financial aid. We cannot determine your eligibility without you submitting those additional documents. If for some reason there's a change in your income, especially with this COVID-19 crisis that we're in now, if there's a change, please make sure that after you've turned in all your documents, you come back or contact the financial aid office and let us know that there's a change in your income levels or your parents' income levels, and we can do a professional judgment to fix that. Moving along, another form of financial aid, also financial aid, is coming from the state government. The Maryland Higher Education Commission, contributes a large amount of money towards students through grants and scholarships. Most are need-based, although some are also merit-based, and they can also be geared towards your career track. So after you've done the FAFSA, make sure that you go on to MD CAPS. If you Google MD CAPS, you'll be able to go on there and create your student portal. There you can accept and decline awards and also apply for additional awards. If you cannot do a FAFSA because you are not considered what's an eligible non-citizen, then you can do what's called the MISFA. The MISFA is something that is required to be done by not eligible non-citizens, and we will be able to see if there's a Maryland aid that you can also use towards your education. There are legislative scholarships available as well as loan assistance repayment plans. When you go onto the MHEC website, you'll see a list of all the different programs that they have available. See which one fits for you. The Community College Promise Scholarship is one that's available recently that Governor Hogan has put in place. The Community College Promise Scholarship is available to students who have completed their high school diploma within the past 2 years. There are other eligibility requirements and also conditions of that award, so I suggest you go to their website and make sure that you read up on what those conditions are and what the eligibility requirements are. So after you've done the FAFSA, you've done or the MISFA, and then you've done any additional applications on your on MD CAPS, because you've also gone into MD CAPS and created your portal, you want to make sure that you go onto our website and search scholarships. You'll be able to see the foundation scholarships. Foundation scholarships come from Montgomery College, and they're derived from the donors that live and work in our area. We give out the money that we have donated from them using this foundation scholarship. The deadline is June 30th. There's also another deadline that usually comes out in December, so for the next semester. So please make sure that you go ahead and do your foundation scholarship application as soon as possible. Also make sure that you're very forthcoming with any trials and tribulations that you may be going through, so that that way we can clearly assess the need. Other scholarship programs are the Montgomery Scholars Program, Board of Trustees Specialty Scholarship Program, Macklin Business Institute Scholarship, and the Southern Management Leadership Program Scholarship. All of them can be searched on our Montgomery College website. So those were institutional sources of aid. Now there's also some private sources of aid. So I'll leave that on the screen there for you to write down: College Board, FastWeb, finaid.org, and you can see those there. Here's some of the MC financial aid deadlines that you want to be aware of. Note the March 1st deadline, yes, I know it's passed, but it's still okay for you to do the FAFSA if you haven't completed it yet. It is available to be done in October, but you can still do it all through the year. You do want to make sure that you do it the earlier the better, so that that way you can be considered for other institutional aid sources and also for state sources. Also, if you've already done your FAFSA, wonderful. Please make sure that you get in your documents to us by May 15th so that we can process you in time for fall and you can get all of the benefits required with, all of the benefits that you can get by doing the FAFSA by the May 15th deadline. The last screen here is going to show you about, I'm going to talk to you about the policies and procedures pertaining to getting your financial aid and your awards. So go through that. You'll be able to find it in your MyMC account. You can go in there and you can search the conditions of award so that you understand what is required of that award so that you don't lose it. And also make sure that you're maintaining satisfactory academic progress. Sometimes professors will say, oh, you may not be doing too well in this course at this time. You may want to consider withdrawing so that that way your grades don't drop. Well, with financial aid, we look at your grades, but we also look at your pace of completion. So if your pace of completion is not up to par because you've dropped the class, then you could end up getting into some trouble with financial aid, and you would still be able to attend college, but you might not be able to attend using the financial aid. So you would do an appeal and you would explain what happened, and then we can see if we can reevaluate your situation and help you out that way. If you need any questions, if you have further questions, you should definitely contact your high school career center. Also, you can call us. The next slide will have our contact details. And the Department of Education phone number here, when you're doing your FAFSA, if you're having some difficulties, is 1-800-4FED-AID. Here's the contact information for MC. Please make sure that you like, follow, and share at Financial Aid MC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, lastly, I forgot to mention, when you've done the FAFSA, if you've looked to see in your MyMC account that there's no documents there required for you, then and it's been a week, then most likely your social security number was not on file at the college. So you need to contact our records and registration office and have your social security number inputted into your file. Then within a week, you should be able to see the additional documents that you need to turn in so that we can continue processing your aid application. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Archer. I'm representing the Finance Department. Payment options. Payments in full may be made online through the Montgomery College Secure Payment Portal. We only accept major debit and credit card brands, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. ATM cards just follow the networks that are supported. Look on the back of your card to identify that. Online, next. Online partial payments can be made through the tuition installment plan. Each term is independent and must be enrolled separately. For summer term, the non-refundable fee is $20 per term. The payment is split in two. This includes your down payment due at the time of enrollment, and later due date will be advertised for your next payment. For the fall and spring term, the non-refundable fee is $35 per term. There will be 3 or 4 payments for the 4-term plans. This includes your down payment due at the time of enrollment and follow-up payments later in the term as well. Next, Camille. What if someone else is paying your tuition? If any third party, such as an individual, government agencies, or business agrees to pay your tuition and fees, you are not relieved of your responsibility. In the event the third party fails to honor its agreement, Montgomery College reserves the right to directly bill you. If you're expecting financial aid and you are ineligible for aid, you are responsible for the charges. Payment deadlines. Payment or payment arrangements are due the day you register for classes. If you do not pay your bill or enroll in tuition installment plan by the deadline, your classes registration will be dropped. Log into MyMC to view and pay your bill or enroll in the tuition installment plan. If you register for classes, you are responsible for all charges. Failure to pay, failure to officially drop by the refund deadline, or failure to attend will not relieve you of your responsibility of these charges. Non-attendance or failure to pay does not constitute an official withdrawal. In order to avoid financial responsibility, you must drop your classes by the refund deadline. If you decide not to attend, do not assume you will be automatically dropped. You may officially drop classes through your MyMC at the records and registration. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again this morning. My name is Nicholas Boyd. I'm one of the recruitment and college access specialists here at Montgomery College. And I just wanted to take a second to go through our enrollment steps. Throughout the year at our visits when we were still making physical visits, and you may have received a copy of this Raptor reference through email, but you may have seen this document before. Depending on where you are in the enrollment process, just please try to make sure that you've completed these steps, just so that we can make sure that we're on target for course registration, which begins a little bit later this month. But step one, after you apply, well, first, step one, you are to apply for admission into Montgomery College. If anyone has not applied to Montgomery College, I urge that you do so as soon as you can. The admissions application is actually free, and you can submit an application free of charge, all right? So we're looking forward to receiving your application and getting you started at Montgomery College. After you apply for admission, just please be sure to also apply for financial aid, as you've heard the information regarding that at fafsa.gov. You could also then submit your official high school transcripts to admissions after graduation. Also very important, if anyone qualifies for Disability Support Services or DSS, they would really want you to complete an intake form by July the 15th so that we could make sure that you have all of the necessary accommodations needed for the upcoming term. And also, if anyone qualifies for the Maryland DREAM Act, please be sure to contact us and we'll be sure to get you in contact with one of our coordinators. So that's step one. Now, after step one, after you apply to Montgomery College, you should then be able to receive your acceptance letter. And then on that acceptance letter, you'll have two important information listed. First, you'll see your MC student ID number, and then you'll see your MyMC ID. You need this information in order to claim your account. Once you claim your account, you're basically checking in with Montgomery College and you're able to select your password. And then you'll be able to enter your MyMC student portal where you could do things such as check financial aid, check your course registration, and pay your student accounts, things of that sort. Also, again, as you'll be able to locate your financial aid forms by logging into your MyMC account. So it's very important that you claim your account. And if anyone has any issues, or if you try to claim your account, but it says that the account may have been disabled, sometimes that does happen, but it's a quick fix. And if you contact our IT department, they should be able to help you. You could contact Montgomery College's IT department at 240-567-7222. Alrighty, or just send us an email, or we're here to help. Alrighty. Also, please be sure to schedule to take a placement test if you have not tested yet. Montgomery College is due to release our alternative placement options, given that we've been working remotely, on May the 11th. Alrighty. So please be sure to visit our assessments and testing webpage, and we'll have updates regarding our remote testing options for anyone that has not tested just yet. And that's in regards to our Alex Math, and also our next generation Active Placer English. If anyone has already tested, taken the SAT, ACT, and you would like to send your scores into Montgomery College, you could send those scores over to us at raptorcentral@montgomerycollege.edu. Almost done. Moving over to step 3, where we want you to complete your new student orientation, your academic orientation. These could be completed online by accessing your MyMC account. Alrighty, and this is very important, as once you're able to complete these orientations, a registration hold will be released from your account so that you could then begin work on the registration process. In addition to those 2 orientations, you also want to utilize or complete the advising questionnaire. It just takes a couple of minutes. It allows us to get to know you a little bit better before you meet with the academic advisor. And although you all are preparing for college, and you are fairly independent, you can always expect to have a Montgomery College resource here to help. So each and every one of you will have the ability to meet with an academic advisor before you schedule your first semester classes. So don't feel as though you're completely on your own when it comes to the college process. You always have us to help, and you also have your academic advisors to help. Now, in order to schedule an appointment with your academic advisor, again, you'll be able to log into your MyMC account. And after logging into your MyMC account through the Starfish tab, you can kind of see what the thumbnail looks like. But through your Starfish tab, you'll be able to select a campus and then select an advisor. And currently we are doing Zoom meetings. We're meeting with students through email and also text chat. Alrighty, so whatever the best option is for you, you can still meet with an academic advisor to move forward with your course registration. But we do suggest that you meet with an academic advisor before you proceed forward. Now, finally, step 4 is where we want you to prepare for this semester. You'll be able to register for classes, pay tuition and fees. Once we are able to get back on campus, you'll be able to obtain your MC photo ID from the Student Life Department. Alrighty, and also parking passes, rent textbooks from the MC bookstore, and then, which is our ultimate goal, is to eventually attend class. So whether it's in a distant capacity or on campus, Montgomery College will be here to help each and every one of you. We look forward to helping you all. And if you have any questions, please be sure to let us know. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's take some questions. There are lots of questions about the placement test, when students can take the placement test, what the requirements are to be waived from the placement test if you have taken SAT or ACT. Would anybody like to talk a little bit about what might waive you from the placement test? We did hear from Nicholas that students can check back to the Assessment Center website for the remote testing opportunities starting on May 11th. But would anybody like to talk about, or Nicholas, would you like to talk about what kinds of eligibility requirements there are to be waived from the placement tests, like SAT scores, ACT scores, for MCPS students, APPG, APPE, or APPM?
Oh, yes. If anyone has already taken the SAT, the benchmark score that you're looking for would be a 530 on the math portion and a 480 on the reading portion. If you did already receive those scores, you could send those scores over to us at raptorcentral@montgomerycollege.edu. And if you've taken the ACT, then the benchmark score that you'll be looking for would be a 21. Alrighty. Now we also have some exemption criteria, and just give me 1 second, I'm just pulling it up, where if you score a certain GPA or based on the criteria, you'll be able to be exempt from taking a placement exam at Montgomery College. And just give me 1 second, and then I'll be able to speak a little bit more about it. Now, the placement exemption criteria, again, if you've taken the new SAT, you want to shoot for at least a 480 evidence-based reading and writing score. If you did receive that score, send those scores into us. You will be exempt from having to taking the reading portion of the AccuPlacer. And then also, if you've taken the SAT and scored at least a 530 on the math portion, you can send those scores into us. Or if you've reached the benchmark scores in both areas, send those scores into Montgomery College, and you should be exempt from having to take those placement options. Again, the ACT is a 21 composite score. And then also, we do have an alternative placement program due to a student's grade point average. And if you graduated from Maryland Public High School with an unweighted cumulative grade point average of a 3.0 or higher, you may be exempt from testing in English or reading and math for up to a year after high school graduation. And you could submit an official, unofficial transcript to the Office of Enrollment Services. Again, you can send that information over to us, and then we will evaluate your transcript for your eligibility in this APPG alternative placement program. Also, there's one other alternative placement program. And I'm sorry, in relation to the APPG program, continue to monitor the assessment website, especially on May the 11th, as we should have some updated criteria for you all. But also, in terms of the alternative placement program by subject, and this is APPE or APPM, MCPS students who have earned a B or better in their final semester of Honors English 12, AP Language, Composition, Modern World History, or Algebra 2, Algebra 2 is in regards to APPM, may be exempt from testing in either English or reading or math for up to a year after high school graduation. Now, students must submit a credit application to have APPE or APPM placement sent by MCPS and uploaded to this MC student's record. So this recommendation will come from MCPS. This is an automatic process that takes up to 2 weeks after the student has been admitted into Montgomery College. Alrighty, so those are some additional options in regards to placement test exemption. And I can't stress it enough, please continue to check back to the college's website on May the 11th, specifically the assessment and testing webpage for more information regarding additional criteria for placement exemption.
Okay, thank you. And if I have any of those exemptions, where do I send my scores or my transcript to show? Is it to Raptor Central?
Yes, you should be able to send those scores over to Raptor Central. Again, the email address is on the screen, raptorcentral@montgomerycollege.edu. And we're here to help.
Okay, great. So let's say I checked and I have a financial aid award. What would my next step be? And also related to that, if I have received financial aid forms, to be completed, where do I send those? Rhonda, do you want to answer those?
Sure. So the next step, you've got your financial aid award. You can go ahead, register for your classes. Know that you've already turned in the class reservation form, and that will hold your classes so that they won't be dropped for non-payment. And as for the other question, if you have not received your financial aid award yet, and you've just got your documents that are sitting there available to be done, complete them and mail them to the Germantown Financial Aid Office. The information is on our website as well. Because of this, because we cannot be in our offices right now, we are accepting all forms of, or if you could just mail it to the Germantown office. Soon, we should be able to have some online forms available for students to complete, but that's expected, I believe, in June. So go ahead and mail them in now. Make sure you keep a copy for yourself and mail them to the Germantown office and then the Germantown Financial Aid Office. They'll get scanned in. You should see a change within about 2 weeks where you'll see the check marks showing as completed. Okay?
Okay. What if I need to make changes to my personal information from my application? How do I have those changes made? Would anybody, Alex, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. So if you need to make a change to your student records after you've applied to the college, let's say you need to change your name or update your address, or perhaps you forgot to include your social security number on the admissions application and you are looking to receive federal financial aid, you can send a declaration of update form to your campus registrar. And I will see if I can find the link and provide that to you guys in just a second. But there is a form that you can complete. You want to make sure that you log into MyMC and send the email from your college email. Every student will have an official Montgomery College email, so it's very important for you to send that information through your official college email and send additional documentation as well. So for example, if you need to update your social security number, it may be required for you to provide a copy of that, of your social security card. And again, you can email that directly to your campus registrar. And I will transition back and try to find that information and provide that to you as well. Thank you.
Okay. When is the deadline for applying or submitting your transcripts? Alex or Nicholas, you want to answer that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'm sorry.
I'll defer to Nicholas.
Okay. When is the deadline for sending transcripts or registering for classes? When does the college have those kinds of deadlines?
Yes, I would say that, of course, you want to get the transcripts in as soon as possible. If you feel as though you qualify for any of the exemption criteria, I would urge that you send a copy of your transcript in now. But definitely after you have graduated, I would urge for you to put in a request to your high school to have your transcript sent after you've graduated so that we have your listed graduation date on your transcript. So again, if you feel as though you qualify for any exemption criteria, I will have that transcript sent now, but all students should please have your final high school transcript sent into Montgomery College upon graduation.
Okay. We also have a question about pertaining to the student financial aid forms. When can students expect to find those additional forms in their student email? Rhonda?
They wouldn't find the forms in their email. They will be able to find the forms in their MyMC account. It usually takes 3 business days as to when they'll find it. So you do the FAFSA, complete it. Once it's submitted, then 3 business days. I give it a little bit longer just in case there's a holiday or something in between. But if you see within a week there's no forms listed for you, then it's because your social security number might not be on file at the college, or maybe you didn't put the school code on the FAFSA. So it's those 2 things. Those are the key drivers as to when you're going to, or to how you're going to see those forms and when you're going to see those forms. So as long as you've got the school code 006911, as well as your social security number on your student aid report, then, and that's the correct social security number that you put on your FAFSA, then it should merge within 3 business days. Okay, so if not, if you wait a week, maybe 2 weeks, and you see it has not been there and there's no forms listed in your MyMC account is where they'll be listed, then you want to contact the financial aid office, or actually I would say contact records and registration and ask, is my social security number there? Is it correct? You know what I mean? Ask how to correct it, okay?
Okay. We have some questions about students that are coming from out of state and whether or not that makes a difference in terms of the placement waiving criteria.
Yes, I believe that the placement exemption criteria is based on a Maryland high school ruling. So I would still defer to the assessment and testing webpage, but the exemption criteria for the 3.0 or above, from what I understand, is specifically among Maryland high schools. That is a great question, and I would still urge that when you meet with the academic advisor, they may be able to give you a little bit more guidance on it. But based on how the rule was created, it was specifically created for Maryland high schools. But nevertheless, it is still a great question, and we hope that we could eventually provide you a little bit more clarity. But even as the rule is stated on the website, it is specifically for Maryland public high schools.
Okay. Well, we don't have any more open questions at the moment. If you do have questions to our audience, if you do have questions beyond today, we will definitely be happy to answer your questions through our Raptor Central. This is your one-stop place for getting your questions answered as an incoming student. And feel free to follow up with us if you would like. Oh, we have a couple more questions. When is the deadline for enrollment this fall? Anybody want to take that?
Well, you do want to be registered for classes by 11:59 p.m. the day before the class starts. So as you can see, my colleague Nicholas detailed all of the enrollment steps, and you want to be able to give yourself enough time to complete those enrollment steps, apply, determine placement, complete your orientations, and actually schedule your remote advising appointment. So the sooner you start the process, the better. And the same thing applies for financial aid. They're independent processes, but you want to start them as soon as possible. But again, the registration deadline is 11:59 the day before the class starts, 11:59 p.m. Thank you very much.
And we have a question about where do we mail our financial aid forms? Rhonda, you want to take that one?
Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute myself. So yes, you want to mail your financial aid forms to the Germantown campus. I can look that exact address up for you in just a minute if you want to take another question while I look that up.
Okay. How can I talk to an advisor in this remote environment? Alex, you want to take that one?
Sure, that's an excellent question. When you log into your IMC account, at the top right hand of the corner, there's something called the Advising Network. It's a starfish icon. You're going to click there, but you can also find the information on our website by using our search bar or search engine and typing in remote advising appointment. At the moment, you're able to schedule your advising appointments remotely, and our academic advisors will be able to provide you advising via phone, via Zoom, and also answer your questions via email. So you can find that information again through our website by searching for remote advising, or you can log into your MyMC account at the top right hand of your screen. Click that starfish icon where it says Advising Network, and then you can find the information to schedule the appointment there as well.
Okay, great.
Thanks. And I have that address if you needed it.
Okay, this is where to send your financial aid forms?
Yes, you can send them to 20200, so 20200, Observation Drive, Germantown, Maryland, 20876. You would just make sure that you put attention financial aid so that it could be sent to the financial aid office.
And Rhonda, we have a question about what I really believe is about the promise.
Yes, I see that question. I was trying to reply to that.
Would you like to talk about that?
I can address that on this. Yes, that is a belief that most have, that as long as you're making under 150, school is free. That is not necessarily the case, because there are some other restrictions that are involved, and you actually have to apply for the Promise Scholarship. The Promise Scholarship is found on the MHEC website that I discussed earlier in the program. The Promise application and all the eligibility requirements are listed there. So yes, if they are under, that is one of the eligibility requirements. Yes, it's true, but there are other eligibility requirements as well as conditions of that award that need to be met. There's also, I believe, a service obligation. So please make sure you research on, like, just, you can Google College Promise Scholarship and look for the MHEC links or the Maryland State College Promise Scholarship. You'll be able to see those eligibility requirements there. Okay.
Okay. And we have a question about, a lot of questions about the financial aid process in terms of how you get your FAFSA information to Montgomery College. How does a student know that their financial aid requirements, there's supplemental information has been received if it's not showing in their MyMC account? Rhonda, can you talk a little bit more about the timing of that process?
Yes. Before this dramatic episode that we're going through right now, it used to be that within about a week or two, you should be able to see that your documents have been received, and you'd have green check marks where you used to see the links for the forms. It would instead show the form and a green check mark in your MyMC account showing that it's been received. Since we've been doing things this way, where we've been mailing all of the accepting mailed forms, it's been taking a lot longer. So I would give it maybe 3 weeks before you would check again to see if those forms have been received. I know it takes a long time, but please bear with us. Make sure that you keep a copy of the forms that you are about to mail in, so that you know, okay, this is what I sent in. And also try to make sure that they're as complete as possible. They will mail forms back if they are incomplete. That being said, very soon we should be able to have an online form system that's going to be up and running very soon. So that's, I guess, a silver lining that's coming out of all of this. And hopefully you'll be able to turn those forms in as soon as possible. The way to see how they've been received is by going into your MyMC account, and if you see, look, the forms are still sitting there, then that means we don't have them. And if you see that they've got green check marks, then we do have them. And it should take about 3 weeks from the time that you mail the forms to show as a green check mark, okay? So I don't know if that fully answered the question. Was there more of the question, Camille?
No, that's basically it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking at this one here from a student. It says, how do I know if my forms are already read since I sent it because it was unsatisfied? Yeah, that's the question that I just answered. I
Mhm.
believe there was another one above that. That one is, yep, and I read that one too. Okay, so it looks like those two are okay.
There are lots of questions probably for students that have come into the webinar after we talked about the placement test. So Nicholas, would you just like to talk about how students are going to be able to satisfy that requirement if they don't have any of the criteria, that will exempt them from the placement test, and just when that information might be available, how they can take the placement test in this remote environment?
Oh, yes. If you don't meet the 480 evidence-based reading and writing for the SAT or the 530 math or the 21 ACT composite, or necessarily the, like the GPA exemption scores, that's okay. And, many students are unable to also meet those benchmark scores, but we'll also give you an alternative option to take the assessments. That's the Accuplacer and the Alex Math already. So you can expect to have this information released on our assessments and testing webpage on May the 11th. All right. The college has been working behind the scenes in a remote capacity, trying to provide you with an alternative option since we can't meet in person. Of course, if we were able to meet in person, we would invite you to the campus. You could come and take that Accuplacer on campus. But because we've been working in a remote capacity, the colleges has been creating an alternative option for students to test. So on May 11th, we'll have that information released to you all of how to complete these testing options. But please understand that you have to provide us with some sort of assessment, whether it's SAT, ACT, or the Accuplacer options, in order for us to properly schedule you for the correct level of classes for your first semester at Montgomery College. This is how we ensure, your academic excellence and making sure that every student gets started at the right level.
Okay. We have a few questions about what the placement means, like after you do your academic orientation, the results that you receive, how do you set up an appointment with a counselor? Well, let me back up for a second. So after you've done your orientations, and if it gives you your placement at the end, before you register for your classes, you'll meet with a counselor. So Alex, would you mind talking again a little bit about after you either have shown that you are waived from the placement test, or after you have done the remote placement testing procedure that we're going to find out more about on Monday? How do you make an appointment with the counselor so that you can find out what classes to register for and then register for your classes?
Absolutely. So once you've determined placement, you are going to move on to step 3 process, where you'll complete your mandatory orientations and then schedule a remote advising appointment. Now, I am currently sending all of you a link. I would love to know if you've received it, but that link would allow you to go ahead and schedule your remote advising appointment. And those academic advisors will then take the placement information and also your advising questionnaire, which you'll complete during your orientation, and based off your program of study, help you determine what classes you'll take your first semester. So all of the pieces, it's kind of like a puzzle, all of the pieces kind of are important in order to get through the enrollment process. So again, after determining placement, the next step is completing your orientations. I have sent a link to you, which will link you to being able to schedule your remote advising appointment. And again, they are, our advisors are providing advice via phone as well as Zoom, and also answering questions via chat and email for your convenience. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll just take a couple more questions. We have a question about where we can find the recording of this webinar And if you go to our future students page, so at MC Future Students, we will have it posted there. At the end of this webinar, we'll post it live there. So you'll be able to refer back to the questions and things like that that we've answered here. And another question that I'm seeing is that we have, should students send their transcripts now for any of those criteria that allow them to be waived?
Yes, if you feel as though you meet the criteria or your counselor determines that you meet the criteria, I would urge that you send in a copy of the transcripts now so that we could evaluate your transcript to determine if you are exempt from the further assessments. I wouldn't tell you to wait until you graduate to become exempt from testing, just because, you know, graduation is still a little bit ways away. And we want you all to test and get registered realistically as soon as registration begins. That's our goal. So yes, if you could, if you feel as though you meet the criteria, send that transcript in now, but you will also have to send another copy, your final high school transcript with the listed graduation date regardless. But again, for exemption purposes, you can send those transcripts in now for us to evaluate in hopes that we could move you along without having to take that assessment.
And when they request the transcript to be sent from their counselor, where do they send it? To Raptor Central?
Yes, I believe you should be able to send it to Raptor Central at montgomerycollege.edu. And also speak with your counselor. They work with Montgomery College very often. So just put in a request and the counselor should already have the location of where to send it. But yes, Raptor Central at montgomerycollege.edu. That's our really our one-stop shop for all enrollment needs.
Okay, we're going to take one more question. If I want to defer my registration and not register this fall, do I have to reapply if I want to start in the spring?
I can take that question. The answer is no. Once you've submitted an application to the college, that application will always be there. So if you decide to defer and maybe come in the spring, as long as you've completed the enrollment steps, at that time, whenever you decide that you do want to enroll, I would recommend setting up an appointment with the academic advisor. Again, if you've completed the entire enrollment process, and then having them help you in choosing your courses at that time. But you do not have to apply. Once you apply once, the admissions application will always be available.
Okay, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today on this webinar. If you have further questions, just question in general, because you're enrolling in Montgomery College, I encourage you to contact our Raptor Central at 240-567-5000 or email them at raptorcentral@montgomerycollege.edu. If you have questions regarding student financial aid, please contact the Student Financial Aid Office at 240-567-5100 or financialaid@montgomerycollege.edu. And also, if you have questions about your student bill, when you receive it, you can contact the finance office at acctrec@montgomerycollege.edu. Again, I'm sorry we were not able to answer everyone's question. Please reach out to these resource locations to get your questions answered. And we thank you again for attending, and we just wish everyone a good weekend and stay safe.
Thank you.